On the second day of the ground war, Saddam Hussein orders a withdrawal of his troops, but first he gets revenge. 12 Americans killed, 40 are missing in a Scud missile attack.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw. Tonight, America at war. Reporting from Saudi Arabia, Tom Brokaw with Jane Pauley in New York.
Good evening from Saudi Arabia. It is a night of desperation from Baghdad, a night of triumph for Operation Desert Storm in Kuwait and Iraq. And here in Saudi Arabia, it is a night of tragedy for 12 American Army reservists killed in a Scud missile attack, and 40 others are missing. That Scud missile attack came about 5 hours before Saddam Hussein announced on Baghdad radio that he was prepared to withdraw his troops from Kuwait under the provisions of the Soviet peace plan. Will that fly with the American military command and with President Bush? Standing by now at the White House, NBC's John Cochran, at the Pentagon, Fred Francis. Fred, if they begin the withdrawal, will they have safe passage?
No, they will not have safe passage, Tom. Under previously dictated policy by this administration, they have to leave their equipment in place at this point if they want to withdraw. One senior official told NBC News a short time ago, remember Khafji. In Khafji, that battle for the coastal city, Tom, the Iraqi tanks came in with their turrets turned backwards, the universal signal for withdrawal or retreat or surrender, and they turned around and fired. So any tanks moving north are going to move north into more than 100,000 American and Allied troops, because that is roughly the number which is who have taken up positions in southern Iraq. As a matter of fact, Tom, American and Allied troops are within 150 miles of Baghdad. They have no intention of going to Baghdad right now, but they are a blocking force, not just a blocking force for troops coming down from Baghdad, but they can block a retreat anytime they like. Tom?
John Cochran, what's the reaction at the White House from a political point of view? Is President Bush prepared to accept this?
He is not prepared to accept this. First, let me say that there are intelligence reports indicating that, in fact, Iraqi tanks are headed north. The problem is, on their way to the Iraqi border to get through Kuwait, they've got to go past American positions. They're very concerned within the administration what will happen when those Iraqi tanks, even if they are trying to retreat, and it's not sure why they're headed north, but you'd think if they're headed north if they're retreating, what happens when they run across those American forces. So we will continue to attack them because we don't want these people, obviously, to have their firepower when they run across the American troops. President Bush received word of this news that the Iraqis were going to withdraw, or said they would withdraw. This word from Baghdad radio. He received it on Capitol Hill, where he was engaged in a game of paddleball. This was just about a half an hour ago. A short time ago, however, Bush's spokesman, Marlon Fitzwater, said, "We have not received news of the Iraqi withdrawal from an authoritative source. Therefore, the war goes on."
John Cochran, do they see this as another card for the Soviet Union? Gorbachev has been trying hard to keep his Soviet peace plan alive, even going to the United Nations.
Well, the Soviets were up to their elbows this afternoon. They again were trying to advance a new peace initiative, some of the details of which are unclear. The Soviets were talking about reaching a new date for withdrawal. Part of the problem is the White House is saying that the way that the Iraqis should retreat is to have this announced at the UN, that the Iraqi ambassador to the UN should make the announcement, should inform the UN Security Council. However, we're not sure that the Iraqi ambassador has communications to Baghdad, Tom. Right. It's not clear he could announce that if he wanted to.
And Fred Francis of the Pentagon, final thoughts before we move along here?
Tom, Baghdad has almost no communications with its troops in the field. Today, U.S. intelligence intercepted communications from Iraqi commanders pleading with Baghdad to allow them to retreat. The communication said at least 7 Iraqi divisions could no longer fight. So that was in the clear, picked up by U.S. officials. So indeed, the Iraqi army is in terrible shape. Tom?
Thank you, Fred Francis and John Cochran. We'll be coming back to both of you as we proceed with this extraordinary evening of developments here in the Persian Gulf. About 5 hours before that announcement on Baghdad radio, there was a Scud missile alert here in Dharan, Saudi Arabia. Then the all clear was sounded. We thought that the Patriot missiles had executed a successful intercept, but that was not the case. The Scud missile fell on an Army barracks that contained Army reservists. We do not know the unit exactly, but this is what happened. 12 killed, 40 still missing tonight. The missile's warhead, or debris, slammed into the barracks as troops were sitting down to dinner.
The whole thing's gone. Everybody in it is either wounded or dead.
How many people
people were inside?
About 130 maybe. There's 53 for sure. That was my unit. They're gone.
That was a survivor of tonight's Scud missile attack, the first ever to successfully hit an American target.
One of these ambulances has to go up there. Oh, the people are up here.
About 150 men and women, members of a U.S. military transport company, were living in this former warehouse on the east side of Dharan. An eyewitness said the victims had no warning.
Split seconds.
Dozens of ambulances, Saudi and American, rushed to the scene. Rescue workers pulled the injured from the wreckage, but some were beyond help. The twisted framework of the warehouse seemed to indicate the warhead scored a direct hit. Hours after the flames were out, emergency teams continued to pick through the debris for more victims. The search is expected to last through the night. There were 12 killed and at least 40 more are missing, and in the ground war, in 2 days of fighting, so far, only 4 Americans have been killed in action in all of that. These people thought that they were safely out of harm's way. Before the Scud attack, the American commanders from Operation Desert Storm were restrained, but clearly very optimistic about the progress that they are making so far. General Walter Boomer, who is a Marine boss in this theater, said it's not over until it's over, but he predicted that it would be over in a matter of days, not weeks.